Good morning. I think this is our destination for today, for the first part of today anyway. That is Wheeler Peak. It is the highest mountain in the state of New Mexico at a bit over 13,000 feet. The trail starts here in Taos Valley Resort. This is a ski resort, not to be confused with Taos, the city that's not too far from here, or Taos Pueblo, which is an ancient Native American settlement, also kind of close by. This hike starts at the ski resort at Taos Valley Resort. This is a lodge of some sort. There's a lift right there behind me. Starts here, goes up to a pretty lake, which as I understand it is worth the hike in and of itself. And then from there the trail switchbacks up to the top of the mountain. Also, I said Taos Valley Resort. I think it's actually called Taos Ski Valley. That's my bad. I like this sign right here though. It says, "Are you ready?" And it's basically a packing list for hiking. Shoes and boots, sunglasses, hat, sunscreen, bug spray, jacket, compass and maps, knife or multi-tool, food and snacks, water bottle, headlamp or flashlight, phone, power bank charger, safety whistle, hiking poles. All pretty good suggestions. I approve. Alright, let's continue up through the ski resort here. Yeah, that lake that I mentioned is called Williams Lake. That's the first or intermediate destination. Oh, there's a little waterfall right there. And about 45 minutes into the hike here, I'm at a fork in the road. To the left is Wheeler Peak Summit. To the right is Williams Lake. I'm going left first to the summit, and on the way down, I'll check out the lake. The lake was less than a quarter of a mile that way, but the priority here is the mountain. And I'm guessing I'll have views of the lake from up here too, but I would like to go to the lake, but mountain first, lake second. Well, as you might expect, the view as I'm climbing higher just continues to improve. Beautiful mountain views. There's the little lake down there. These are the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, the same mountains that were part of Great Sand Dunes National Park, where I was in the last video. This is the southern end of those mountains. Well, I'm getting closer. Still have a ways to go. I'm about 800 vertical feet below the summit. Somewhere up here is the summit. From here, the trail switchbacks. Then I think it ends up here at this little low point, that little notch, and goes to the top from there. Not much to report except that it's windy and cold, and I've encountered a surprising number of other hikers. I guess I didn't get an early enough start this morning. I'm going soft. I'm getting lazy. I started hiking at about 7:10. I think I woke up at about 5:15. 7:10 when I started hiking is sunrise, but it was already a little bit light. I should have started hiking at like 6:30 or 6 to beat the crowds a little bit. I like feeling like I have a mountain to myself, even if I know that I don't. I like feeling like I do. And so I try to get up and get hiking as early as possible for things like this. Getting close to the ridge top now. There's another hiker ahead of me. That dot on the ridge there. The end is somewhat in sight. And here is the top. Wheeler Peak, 13,161 feet. And here is the view from the top. This is the way I came up this face here. It's incredibly windy. Unpleasantly windy. This is cool right here. You can see right there a moraine, a terminal moraine from an old glacier. So there used to be a glacier in that right here. Ooh, that wind. It's brutal. Gorgeous day apart from the wind though. Beautiful spot. Alright guys, so I made it up to the top in about 2 hours, 10 minutes. 2,905 feet of elevation gain. 4.25 miles. And this peak is significant for me because it was the last Western state high point that I have to do. Excluding Hawaii and Alaska, I'll do those at some point. But as far as all the hard ones, this was really the last one. From here on out, it's just everything in the east. From like North Dakota down to Texas, I've done all of those. And west from there, I've done all of those. So I think this is what, 34% of the states, 17 out of 50, I think that's 34%. So the percentage is kind of small, but as far as difficulty goes, it's pretty big. I've done a lot of the effort that the 50 state high points require, so it feels really good. I'm just happy to finally be up here. It's a good day. Can enjoy my time up here, enjoy the view, then I'll head back down. I think I'm headed to Santa Fe after this, so that's not true. I'm gonna go to the lake first, so let me go to the lake and I'll show that to you guys, and then I'll get out of the mountains and we'll go on to see some beautiful city sights, I think. Yeah, this is really, really pretty. Even if you're not interested in climbing mountains or climbing the highest point in a state, I think that this hike to this lake here is worth it. And there is Wheeler Peak. So the trail went up through here somewhere and then up to the ridge and then up to the top. And a couple of hours later, I am in beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico. I've actually never been here before. I've been to Albuquerque and Las Cruces, but I've never been to Santa Fe. Like I've said throughout this video and series, I don't come here very often, to this part of the country very often. So I'm just gonna walk around the downtown area and see some of the old, beautiful architecture and learn some history. So first off, we're gonna start at Santa Fe Plaza. This is the plaza, or the open square in the center of the old town area, and it's surrounded by a bunch of old and beautiful buildings. Most notably this building over here to my right. This is the Palace of the Governors, and it dates back to 1610, making it the oldest continuously used building made by Europeans in America. Here's a better look at it from up close, but Santa Fe was used as a Spanish territorial capital in the 17th century. And this is where the governors lived. And the plaza itself marked the literal ending point of the Santa Fe Trail, which was between Missouri and Santa Fe. It was an important trade route. And so wagons would come here to the square here and unload their cargo. And the trail lasted until 1880 when the railroad to Santa Fe was completed. Now this is interesting. So in the middle of the plaza here, there used to be an obelisk that was a Civil War memorial monument. But now it's just like a, I don't know, like a plywood box surrounding what used to be there. So there's a sign here. I read the sign. And like I said, there used to be an obelisk there, but it was removed last year in 2020 during the Black Lives Matter protests. Protesters tore it down, and there's a sign there saying, basically, we don't know what we're going to do with this spot. It's a sign from the city saying, we don't know what we're going to do with this spot. So it's an interesting little piece of history. Hi everyone, so I realized while editing this video that I needed to include a little bit more context, a little bit more information about the obelisk. So apparently, again, this was before I saw it, there were inscriptions on each side of the obelisk talking about different things. On one of them was an inscription about the Civil War. Confederate troops briefly captured Santa Fe during the Civil War. It was quickly retaken by Union troops, but one blurb was about that. And then another blurb on another side of the obelisk said this: "To the heroes who have fallen in the various battles with Indians in the territory of New Mexico." And there used to be an extra word that was crossed out, and it used to say "savage Indians in the territory of New Mexico." Now, New Mexico has a large Native American population, so understandably, that didn't sit well with people, and I don't know why it wasn't removed sooner, but it was taken down during the Black Lives Matter protests. So I just wanted to provide that additional information there, because that's something that I didn't fully understand when I was visiting there. So let's get back to Santa Fe. So let me show you what else we have here around the perimeter of the plaza. So apart from the Palace of the Governors, which is over there, that's on one side, I think that's the north side. And on these other sides, it's basically fancy stuff. So there's a clothing company here and a cafe over here. There's a little bank over there. Five and Dime General Store, another restaurant. Just lots of restaurants and tourist shops, basically. Here's a look down the colonnade of the Palace of the Governors. These days, the palace is part of a museum. It's the New Mexico History Museum, I think. Yeah, New Mexico History Museum. It's part of the museum. The main entrance is over there. It's like a big modern building, and then this building is just a part of the museum. And there are a bunch of souvenir vendors along under the colonnade here. And then just about a block down the road from the plaza is this church. This isn't old. It was built in the 1800s. Cool building though. This is the Cathedral Basilica of St. Francis of Assisi. I just tried to get in here, but it's closed today. It's closed, I think, Mondays and Wednesdays or something like that, the guy that I just talked to said, so that's too bad. But there are a couple others around here that I wanted to check out, so let's go to the next one. And then this is the Loreto Chapel, built in 1878. There's a staircase of note in here. Let's go take a look at it inside, then I'll talk about it after we see it.
When built, the chapel had no stairway to its choir vault, which was not uncommon for the times, as most choirs were composed of male singers and used ladders.
Your sister arrived and established our school.
The Loreto Academy operated on this runway from 1853 to 1960.
So that staircase is called the Miraculous Staircase because how it came to be is miraculous. So they built that chapel and they needed a way to access the choir area up on top. And they consulted several carpenters who all said that there just wasn't enough space really to make a staircase to go up there. Because it's a small chapel, they didn't want to take up half of the space they're building a staircase to go up to the top. And so the sisters there prayed for 9 days, and after that a mysterious carpenter appeared. Took him 6 months to build the staircase. It's a beautiful staircase that has no no obvious means of support, like there's no central pillar, there are no pillars on the outside or anything like that. So the man built the staircase, and at the end of it he just disappeared. And he didn't ask for payment or anything like that. He just showed up one day, built the thing, and then left one day. And it was just a miraculous thing that he was able to do that and that he didn't ask for payment. And so that's why it's the miraculous staircase. Great story. So that was the second church that I wanted to see here. The third one is the oldest and the one I'm most interested in, and it's just in front of me here. This is San Miguel Church, or San Miguel Mission. As the sign here says, this is the oldest church structure in the USA. The original adobe walls and altar were built by Tlaxcalan Indians from Mexico in 1610. Now, as I understand it from reading the Wikipedia page for this church, it was initially built in 1610, but most of what we see today dates from the 1700s, although portions from that original structure were likely used to construct what we see here today. Oh yeah, this sign out front here, which you can pause and read if you want. The most interesting thing to me is that it says the original adobe walls remain under the stucco exterior. Unfortunately, today is Monday, and it is only open from 1 to 3 p.m. today. It is 4:15, so we won't be able to go inside, but I'll find some pictures online and put them here for you guys to see. Also of note, so this is the outside of the church, and right next to it in this little alley here is the oldest house in the USA, circa 1646. It's a museum and gift shop now, which I'm not super interested in. So I'm just gonna admire it from the outside. And now I'll be on my way going back to the car now. I paid for a couple hours of parking and I'm getting close to the end of that. But I just wanted to say also that New Mexico is so interesting to me. I think it's the closest thing that the Western US has to what feels like another country inside of it. Like it feels noticeably different from the surrounding states. And the really interesting thing is that it's not just the touristy old historic area that has that really beautiful, simple, clean, Pueblo-style architecture. It's the majority of the buildings that I've seen in this part of New Mexico. Like driving from the ski resort today to here, I went through a bunch of little towns, and to some extent, the vast majority of the buildings looked like that. And it's just so interesting to me and so unique. I love it. I found a campsite for the night, and I've arrived about 5 minutes before sunset instead of 5 minutes after sunset like I normally do, so that's better. I'm improving. I got a delicious burrito for dinner at a place called Bumblebee's Baja Grill. I searched on Google Maps for drive-through burritos, and that place was the highest rated place that I could find. So I went there, it was really good. And then I would have gotten here to camp about 45 minutes sooner, but my card was declined at the burrito place. And it shouldn't have been declined. It was a debit card. There's plenty of money in that account, so I paid for it with another card, and then I called my bank, and it turns out that someone had gotten my card information and had been making purchases around the country. All told, about $800 actually went through before my bank flagged it and stopped the card from working. So I was on the phone for a while trying to get that all figured out. I think it's all been taken care of. I think we're in the clear, but guess we'll see. Let me show you the campsite here. First of all, there's a beautiful sunset here, really nice colors. And I'm on national forest land, about half an hour, 40 minutes maybe, from Santa Fe to the south. I just looked on the map, saw some national forest land here, saw that there were roads going through it, so I decided to head out there, figuring there would be campsites, and sure enough, I found one. New Mexico is a really interesting and beautiful and unique place. I think that's the thing that hits me the most. It's unique among the states of the southwestern US. I think that's due to its long history, to the Spanish history, when it was a Spanish colony, and then you know, it was part of Mexico, of course, and then there's a lot of Native American history and influence here. So it's just a very interesting place, kind of a melting pot of cultures here, and it just feels distinct from the surrounding states. And like I said earlier, it kind of feels like its own little country, and I really like it. New Mexico's a great place. I wish I could come here more, but again, it's just super far from me, so it's hard for me to get here with any regularity. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what your favorite part was. What have your experience has been like in Santa Fe and in northern New Mexico as a whole? Thanks again. I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to check out Adventure Know-How, my new site, where you can gain access to a map of all of my free campsites, plus monthly bonus videos that you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at adventureknowhow.com. And for links to everything else SUV RVing related, visit suvrving.com. Links to these sites and more will be in the video description.